Kieran, this will be your second Six Nations coaching Italy. Do you feel as time goes on the game plan and the message is getting more across to the players?
Well, I think the message, I do. I mean, we stripped things right back, and we've put a new game plan in, which we're still evolving. But new players come in, so you got to make sure that you go back to the start of it again, and everyone gets invested in it. I think we've made progress in that area, but there's still a little way to go.
You had famous wins last year, Wales and Australia, but then difficult days against Georgia. Is consistency of performance still the crucial thing to fix in this side?
I don't think it's a thing to fix. I think I think it's every team prepares for the game. I mean, sometimes a team down the road does it. The result of their preparation is a little bit better than yours, so sometimes that happens. But I think our consistency in preparation for games is really good now, and we have a process, and we'll just keep doing that. And then the performance on the paddock, sometimes that'll be a good result from it, but sometimes it might not be, and yes, we've got to understand that.
Do you just have to accept that sometimes, even if you put your best performance in there, it might be quite good enough on the day?
Yeah, I mean, probably the difference between Italy and some of these other teams is when our performance is not quite as good as it should be, we don't win the game, whereas you get some of these top teams in the world, if their performance is not good, they'll still win the game. But you can only play as well as opposition lets you, so we'll keep trying to play better than the opposition lets us. If that makes sense.
It does indeed. Big boost for the squad, Jake Polledri. Great to see him back, being last captain autumn 2020. What can he add to the squad? Yeah,
Jake's still coming back from the injury. Hasn't played a lot of rugby for Gloucester at all. So we'll see how he is in the first couple of weeks in camp. And then we'll see where he goes from there. But certainly from what he did in 2020 and that, he's a big ball carrier. He had a lot of positive attributes, which we would love to be able to use. We just got to see where he is at and manage him accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. Paolo Garbisi, he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Monty Ioane maybe set to get his chance. What can he add to the squad? He's been around for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, and he's had a lot of games this year, Tommy, because Marcus Smith was unavailable for Harlequin, so Tommy's played a lot of rugby and has had a little bit of experience. I mean, even in the November series, he played all 3 games for us, 2 of them at 10 because Paolo was injured then as well. So he's got experience, but all these games, they're one up front. So if they can give you a good platform, well, then you can manage the game. If your platform's not as good as it possibly should be, well, then you've got some challenges. Tommy brings he's got a pretty good kicking game. He's got a bit of pace, etc. So hopefully he can manage us around the paddock in these first couple of games.
You talked about up front there. You've brought in some debuts. It's Luca Rizzoli, Matteo Negreira and Mirko Spalloni, if my pronunciations are correct. But what can these guys, is a chance maybe to give them game time, but also to get them in that environment?
Yeah, because look, I'll be honest, I think the system in Italy is broken around developing the younger players. There's so many players involved in the 2 franchises who don't play rugby, these young guys. And when I'm looking at depth in some positions, we have not got it at international level, and we are not developing it properly, I don't think, and so we're sort of forced a little bit to bring in guys who are not ready, simply to give them experience and try and build them up. So hopefully they come in, they bring some enthusiasm. I'll have meetings with them individual to tell them what the expectations and all that are around at this level. Because we've got to develop them, and we've got to leave Italy in a good place. When I go, for example.
Last 2 for me. A guy I want to know why he isn't involved. Monty Ioane, what's his situation at the moment?
Monty's playing Super Rugby down in Melbourne Rebels, and if I never. One of the things when they talked to him about the contract was, the super season is right through 6 Nations. So I discussed with Monty. He didn't have he wanted to go back to Australia. His family's there and all that sort of stuff. So I said to Monty, well, you know, take your contract with the Melbourne Rebels. We will leave you out of the Six Nations, but you know, he's available for World Cup. So the positive about that is that Monty's getting rugby, you know, for a number of months, and also the positive is it gives someone else an opportunity, because you know that's a position where we have to build depth in as well.
And first up for you guys in the Championship, France, Grand Slam champions, also have them in the World Cup. Quite spicy, that, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and you know, I think this Six Nations is going to be the hardest ever for a long time, because you know, you've got the number 1 and 2 teams in the world, and France and Ireland, and then you've got 2 teams with England and Wales who have just changed their coaches, and you know, when any team changes their coach, they get a lift. And then you know, we have Scotland away in the last game, so it's going to be massively challenging Six Nations. But yeah, we play France in the 4th game of World Cup as well, and you know, but we're just we're looking forward to it. They play outstanding rugby. You know, they're big players who take it to you, and you watch some of the French rugby, you know, the French domestic league, and that, you know, there's some pretty talented boys here. So yeah, it'll be a challenge, but we're looking forward to it. And
do you believe this squad you have is good enough to win 2 games in the Championship like you did in 2013?
Oh, look, I haven't even visited that area, because you know, I don't judge us on our wins and losses. You know, I judge us on our performance. You know, if we get our process of preparation right, and then we go out and perform, we perform. Whatever happens, happens. You know, yes, I'd like to say 2, I'd like to say 3, I'd like to say 4, I'd like to say 5. You know, but you know, the Test match rugby, all these teams are well above us in world rankings. So you know, if we won 2, it'd be a hell of an achievement.
It would indeed. Thanks very much for your time.
Cheers, mate.